Broadcasting the information the mainstream media won't touch. This is The Richie Allen Show in association with DavidIke.com.
Until this morning, by chance, and I mean by chance because I don't see messages sent to the Richie Allen Facebook page. I don't. I'm one man. I read the emails all the time, but I don't see messages coming in. And I tell people to send emails. It's easier for me. And maybe fate was working this morning because I saw a message from Yolanda telling me that a terrible thing happened to her and her partner only a few weeks ago. And was it something I would be interested in? And it was, because the issue of forced adoption is an issue that I began covering on this programme around about this time last year, probably January, February last year, when Emma Ibbitson, as the Director of Traffic, came on the programme. I couldn't believe what she was telling me. I couldn't believe this was going on. But when I began to research it, I saw not only was it absolutely true, but it was an epidemic, and it was the worst or the best kept secret in this country because people don't know it's going on. I want to welcome to the programme and let them tell you the story, which I'm going to get out of the way of. I want to welcome Yolanda and Leon. Thanks very much, Yolanda and Leon. First of all, Yolanda, for contacting me this morning, and thanks for coming on the programme.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing us onto your show to speak about it.
Not at all. A stupid question always comes. Whenever I talk to people like you, force a habit, you always say, how are you? A stupid question. Because you're going through what I can't imagine, because I don't have children yet. I hope to someday. You're going through probably every parent's worst nightmare. Yolanda, start off and take your time. You are under no pressure here whatsoever. Tell us about your baby. Tell us about having your baby. Obviously, I would imagine a very exciting time. I know that you planned something a bit different, didn't you, from the beginning? You were going to have a home birth in a pool, using a birthing pool. Tell us about that.
Hi, Richie. Hi, everyone. So we decided everything has been very carefully planned, and we have decided to get pregnant. Took us 3 months to do it. And in June, in between our both birthdays, we got to know that we are pregnant. We got very excited and we decided to plan everything carefully. And now is unfortunately, we didn't go for a private midwife. That's what actually I do advise people to do it now. And so unfortunately what we did was we did go to NHS, and we went to see the doctor, and I got to know officially that I was pregnant, and we started to be seen by some midwives. By midwives because there is one, and after was another one, and after was another one. So we didn't get to see and to have a relationship with any midwife in particular. And then like an accident, like today on, like you said this morning on Facebook, and I really appreciate what the angels they have done it to put me in communication with you. In the same way, I went to internet and I went to check into some classes for birthing classes to learn what to expect while I was pregnant, and especially during the birth in labor. And I came across with a person, American person. Her name is Lillian, and it seems she's the first one to be in UK with this new method. Is called Bradley method, where the husbands
coach.
They are called coach because they have an active role into the pregnancy. So, and especially in labor. And so then we have a friend relationship now with this person, and unfortunately she was the testament to everything that happened to us, all this nightmare. So our baby was, by the NHS, was expected for the 16th of February, but amazing or not, Richie, what happened was on the 31st of January, after having dinner with my partner, I said loud, you know what, baby? You do not need to wait for 40 weeks. You can actually just come now. You know, Mummy's already quite tired of big bump.
Right.
38 weeks is already enough. So let's do this. And amazing or not, Richie, believe it or not, a few minutes after, my contractions, they started.
Wow.
So this was the 31st of January, and the contractions, they started at 9 p.m. We call our doula, so they call doula. So it's this person that did teach us what to expect everything during birth, and we really felt very prepared to the birth. And so then we call her, and she left her house and she came to see us.
Let's just explain that now. So you've prepared for the birth in the birthing pool, and you'd arranged with the NHS for a midwife to be present when that happened. The lovely story there about you saying, "Come on, it's time now for you to be born." You have the contractions, the water breaks, and then you do what you're supposed to do, what you've agreed to do. You give the midwife a shout, a call to say, right, we're having the baby. That's where we are now. So you phoned her and she agrees to come.
Yes, she agrees to come. And in the same way, like you said, we did call the labour line. And we were expecting, like we have been told by the midwives, because my pregnancy was fine. So then I was allowed to have the baby at home if I wanted. And I have been told that two midwives, they should turn up, one to take care of my baby and another one to take care of me. But unfortunately, this did not happen. So my labor was about 6 hours. And for all this time, we have been in contact with the labor line, but never a midwife was available to come until only 10 minutes my baby born. So until this midwife turned up, the environment is relaxed and it's beautiful. We have beautiful pictures of all the labor, and it was just an amazing experience. 10 minutes before my baby born, there is a midwife that turned up, and her name is Carol Stone. She turned up, and unfortunately it was not the best experience just seeing her, feeling the presence of her in my house. And this is just because, you know, I'm a cardiac physiologist, and working in hospitals, I have been taught as well how to deal with patients, and not been just dealing with patients, but just dealing with a normal person. This was completely wrong. Her attitude, she was not professional at all. And this because I can tell you that when she arrived, I asked her if having any can you hear me, Richie?
Oh, I'm listening loud and clear. Yeah, I'm hanging on every word. Go ahead.
Thank you. So what happened is that after my baby born, I was still in the pool, and she started having quite a few concerns regarding then my placenta. And she came across quite stressful regarding the placenta. The placenta needs to born, Yolanda. You need to concentrate on the placenta. And I'm kind of like, okay, all right, so what should I expect? Contractions? No, I'm not having any contractions. And I did say to her, you know what, like, can you actually stitch if I have a tear? Because I do feel that I might have a small tear. And she said to me, like, yes, I can stitch. But if you need anything more than that, I could not go with you to the hospital. And I asked her, why is that? It doesn't sound very good, because if I need your help, you need to go with me to the hospital. She said, no, I cannot go because of the car. You know, I left the car outside, and it's I'm slightly concerned with the car ticket.
Parking ticket.
A parking ticket.
Right.
I feel like, sorry, excuse me, are you being for real?
Yeah, because protocol says if you need to go to the hospital, she must attend, because she's the attending midwife. Therefore, she must attend in the event that you need to go to the hospital. I think I'm right in saying that.
Yes.
And not being enough, she even justified that she could not go to the hospital because she wanted to go home as soon as possible for her child duties and to take care of her husband. So I'm slightly concerned with this by now, and actually I asked her, can you then leave and call another midwife to take care of me and my baby? And unfortunately, the answer was no, I cannot. Once I've started the job, I have to finish. So now I'm really concerned. I'm quite stressful. The placenta needs to born, and I'm with someone in my private environment that she does not want to be in here.
She's got a bad energy. She's got a bad attitude. She turned up late to the event, to the birth anyway. She then says, I can't attend the hospital in the event. You need to go because I've got problems. I'm going to get a ticket on my car and I've got to look after my husband. Now, you're a woman, I mean, you're very young, obviously very healthy woman, but giving birth, even in the lovely circumstances you described, is obviously still got a stress attached to it. She's not making things any better. You need to birth the placenta, which is obviously something that needs to happen. She's stressing out about this as well. So what happens then?
Can I just say, I cut the cord. I cut the cord for the baby, and Yolanda breastfeeds for a little while, and then transfers to the bed to then birth the placenta. While Yolanda's on the bed, this midwife pulls at the cord that was left hanging outside twice, and I ask her not to do that, please don't do that. Twice I asked her.
Why is that, Leon? You have to educate me now and some of our listeners, not having ever seen a birth except on television. I wouldn't know. Is that something that a midwife would ordinarily try to do?
Well, I don't know, but it didn't feel right.
It didn't look right. Okay.
It didn't look
No,
right.
I was holding her hand. Please don't do that. You are really hurting me. Please do not do it. And actually, I start to bleed more. From what Leonardo said, is that I started to bleed much more after she was doing that. So when I went off after the baby born, what happens is that 1 hour and 30 minutes after, I asked her to give me the injection, and now with all the lies that they are on the reports, is that actually I have denied even that injection. And even though with the injection, the contractions, they didn't happen, the placenta didn't born. And what is official on the papers is that I lost 2 liters of blood. And Richie, we have about 5 liters of blood, and I lost 2 liters. So this is half of the body.
Nearly.
Half of the blood of my body, I lost it. So
the paramedics were called at this stage. Now, I don't want to rush you, but I'm thinking there's so much to get through, and I'm not going to leave this, by the way, tonight. I'm going to come back to this in the coming weeks as well. So you're losing blood. That's obviously very serious. So you've got this midwife. Now, she's not here to defend herself. Let's be fair about that. She's not here to. She might have a different version of events, but it's clear that it's a stressful situation. It's clear that you feel very strongly that she's not helping that. She certainly isn't if she's talking about parking tickets and stuff like that while you're going through this. So the paramedics come along then, and they make the decision that it's the only thing that needs to happen now is in both you and the baby's best interests, you need to go to hospital. Yes,
and the paramedics, they had to command this midwife to come along in ambulance.
Now, this is important. Sorry to interrupt you now, Yolanda, and I will not be doing this much now, interrupting you. This is vitally important. Yeah. The paramedics had to compel the midwife to attend your visit to the hospital.
Yes.
Right.
They had to command her.
She was denying to go in ambulance, because of the car and because of the husband, and she did not want to come along in ambulance to assist me. They had to command her to go in the ambulance, to go to the hospital as soon as possible. And she did delay this process. So we had to wait for her and for the paramedics to command her to go in ambulance. We had to wait for her quite, 5-10 minutes.
Were the attending paramedics visibly surprised, annoyed or upset by her behaviour?
Yes, I do remember his name. I was very sick by this time, but I do remember Sean had to shout at her and ask her, where is the midwife? I want the midwife inside the ambulance. then she was saying, no, I cannot go because of my car ticket. And he had to shout at her, yes, you are coming right now in ambulance, and please be quick. After she was, then they said Leonardo and the baby, they are going in a midwife's car driven by the paramedic. She denied that. So they had to shout at her again and command her, Leonardo and the baby, go. They are going in your car, driven by the paramedic to the hospital, because it's not safe for the baby to go inside the ambulance. And so then be quick and come inside the ambulance. So then she took the order from the paramedic, and finally we were able to go to the hospital.
Right, it's 22 minutes past the hour. If you're just joining the programme, Leon and Yolanda are on the show. They're undergoing every parent's worst nightmare. They're not currently with their young baby, who was born on the 31st of January this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, Yolanda. 31st of January, 1st of February, 1st, was it?
1st of February.
The 1st of February. So, God love him, he's only, 5, 6 weeks old, 7 weeks old.
Born at 3:55 a.m. So early hours when you are being transferred to the hospital, like 6 o'clock in the morning. And by this time, then in hospital, I went straight to the surgery, to the theatre, because they had to remove the placenta that didn't born. And then in recovery, unfortunately, more things happened. So the baby, I did know that I was going to have a baby boy, but I kept it as a surprise because the father wanted a surprise. So as you can imagine, we didn't discuss names. So in the recovery, unfortunately, every 15 minutes, I'm being asked by nurses, what's baby's name? What's baby's name?
Right, stop right there now, because I'm going to do a recap for anybody, and then we're going to pick it up right there. 23 minutes past the hour. Leon, Yolanda, they have a baby in a very natural setting at home, in a birthing pool, something they wanted to do on the 1st of February, the small hours of the morning this year. They're attended by a midwife from the NHS. There are problems at the very beginning. The midwife arrives late, just before the baby boy is born. She's stressful. She behaves in a stressful way. She stresses Yolanda, who is also coming to terms with the fact that the placenta hasn't birthed. This woman is talking about the fact she can't hang around, that the placenta has to be birthed quick. She tugs on the umbilical cord, which causes Leon to be stressed and causes Yolanda to be stressed by that as well. Yolanda is bleeding. They have to call the paramedics. This woman keeps going on about the family life and the fact that her car might have a ticket. The paramedics are not happy with her. They insist at this stage that she must attend the hospital with Leon and Yolanda. This is not turning out to be the experience they thought it would be when they planned to have this natural, very, very relaxed birth at home in the birthing pool. So they get to hospital. Yolanda needs to have surgery, as you've just heard. She comes out, they obviously in the surgical procedure take the placenta. She's in the recovery, and this is where we pick it up, and it gets absolutely sinister from here on in. Now at this stage, Yolanda, you're talking baby names. Leon didn't know that you were going to have a boy. He's a typical superstitious bloke. We don't want to know this until it happens. So there's no names discussed, because you can't discuss names with him because he doesn't know whether it's going to be a boy or a girl. Now you say that people start asking you about the name of the boy. Take it up from there. Over to you again.
Yeah, so I just did fight for my life. The surgery was about life or death, and I did come alive from this surgery. And now I'm happy to see my baby again. I'm happy to see my partner. And now I'm just being harassed by the nurse that has been taking care of me, supposedly. And she keep asking me every 15 minutes, what's my baby name? If I have decided already, what's my baby name? And I'm not even allowed to have some time to bond with my baby and breastfeed him calmly, because I need to find out a name to give to the midwife, so then she can set up the NHS number and give to this and to that person. So it's in such a way, Richie, that this woman turns up to me saying, in 23 years, I have never seen such thing. And I just upset. I just tell her, you know what, if you keep carrying on harassing me, even poor conditions that I am in the hospital, I will have to leave. I'm not feeling
cared for.
exactly. I'm so exhausted. Even the way I was speaking, even my eyes, I was exhausted. I was sleep deprived, and I kept being harassed because I didn't have a name for my baby.
So this is happening. You say every 15 minutes. You're a Portuguese girl. I'm with a French girl. You're independent. You're strong. You're demonstrative. You'll stick up for yourself. You're not having this. So you're saying, look, leave me alone for Jesus' sake. That's not overly important right now. When Leon and I are ready, we'll have a name for the child. But they didn't let it go. They kept on and on and on.
Yeah, in such a way that I had to say, if you carry on, I would have to leave the hospital. And even though I'm very sick, even though I'm poor, I'll have to leave the hospital because this is too much for me.
How did they respond to that now? When you said, right, if this carries on, I'm out of here, what did they say?
They gave like about 30 minutes and after she came back again. Yeah.
So what was the result of that then?
The result of that was that we spent the night there. I didn't sleep. I didn't have no rest. I breastfed her in the night. My partner was trying to rest as well with me. But we keep asking do you know where to switch the light of the room? No one knew how to switch the light. Until my partner had a comfortable chair to spend the night there, we had to ask many times. And the night went on and I didn't rest. So now I have been discharged on the 2nd of February and I don't sleep since the 31st of January.
They wouldn't turn the light off in your room.
Yeah, we didn't know how to turn the light off. We switched all the switches off that we could find, but this one light, we couldn't work it out how to turn it off, and that was some few hours, and no one would knew themselves. And then eventually someone did, and this nurse said it was on the little handle thing that you call the nurses with. So we got the light turned off and finally we tried to get some rest.
Yeah, Richie, I suppose that everyone was the first day of their work because no one knew where the lights were.
Yeah, of course they knew, yeah. And it should have been a 2-minute job.
Yes.
Yeah. So after... Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, I managed to get a bed. They get us a bed and we have a bed next to Yolanda. And we get some rest. Well, I managed to go to sleep. Yolanda's breastfeeding through the night. And in the middle of the night, I get woken up by the presence of a lady. And, you tell her what
because
happened.
Richie, if I'm not breastfeeding, then they will come along just to measure the blood pressure, to do this, to do that. And Richie, I really appreciate what the team, they did for me. I came alive from the surgery. But after, all the care is important as well. But was all the blood pressure, measuring these, and what's baby's name, and have you decided? I didn't sleep. I did not manage to sleep. And I can even tell you that my baby was breastfeeding. When there is a nurse, she comes inside the room. This is in the middle of the night. She comes along, stays right near my private space, and she puts her hands behind her back, and she leans on us in such a way that the baby starts to cry. And I'm feeling quite uncomfortable. I'm trying to breastfeed. The baby is crying. I cannot manage to settle him. And she's staring at me. And I ask her, do you really need to be here? And she says, no. She turns around. And even before she left the room, the baby just stopped crying. So you can imagine the environment. You can imagine the how their presence, they will just be bad for my baby.
It's very sinister what you're describing and what you described to me today. Now it's hour. We're going to move this on. Leon, you jump in anytime you want, by the way. Yes. Folks, it's Leon and Yolanda on the line to us there. Baby was born on the 1st of February. Very difficult circumstances when the baby was born. We've had a hospital visit. Yolanda said the surgeons took care of her, birthed the placenta, stopped the bleeding, but the care in the hospital from the nurses and the pressure to name the baby, and the light not being turned off in the room, the lack of empathy, the lack of compassion was sinister. Now, you all go home. Then the three of you go home.
Yeah,
Yes.
the 2nd of February, we managed to get discharged, and we come home.
Yeah,
And we're at home.
And supposedly we're expecting to be in peace on the 3rd of February, but unfortunately that did not happen. So while as I'm breastfeeding, the intercom goes off, and unexpected, there is a midwife outside, and she says on the intercom to Leon that she wants to see the baby. And I do ask him, wow, bloody hell. I'm exhausted. It's the 3rd of February. I don't sleep since the 31st of January. I'm sleep deprived. I had a 6 hours labor, from which one I have not been able to rest, not even for 1 second. I have been inside the house, washing the hands, breastfeeding, washing the hands again, trying to changing nappies. I just want to rest, enjoy my baby. And there's a midwife now coming unexpectedly. And I just say to him, can you please tell her to come with an appointment, or we go and see them with an appointment?
It's fairly reasonable, that, I would have thought.
Yolanda just wanted to rest.
Do you think, Richie, that's reasonable?
I would have said, if I was on the other end of the intercom, I would have said, fine, I totally understand that. Give us a ring when you're ready.
Yes.
Yeah, I would expect that as well. But it seems the rules in UK, they are slightly different. So what happened is that the intercom went off. She didn't ring again, and we're expecting that everything is fine. We expect that, like you said, the things were reasonable. She said the same. Unfortunately, 2 hours later, the midwife that she saw me at the end of my pregnancy, Donna Smith, she turns up without no notice, and we say to her the same. And she even says that she did not know anyone else that came up before her.
Right, so she wasn't aware that 2 hours earlier a different midwife had knocked on the door. She said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
She didn't know. Okay, right.
And now on the 4th of February, so on the day after, I speak with her because she called my partner, and I speak with her because she texted my partner saying that she was quite upset that she didn't let...
She didn't get to see the baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I speak to her over the phone, and Richie, she did apologize to come up without notice, and she was sorry for the behavior of her colleague. And she said, we need to go through an investigation, and you have some numbers that we can go through. And I do ask her then, what's the appointment then we can go for you to check the baby? She was not available on the 5th of February, so on the next Friday. So then she gave me the 12th of February. So only with these then we are with peace of mind, and that's it.
Good. Now, can I just ask at this stage now, so you've made this appointment for the 12th of February. At this stage, have people stopped asking you about naming the baby?
About this, sorry?
Have people stopped asking about the name, or is there still questions about the name? Did you name the baby by that stage?
The only name that we have been asked was in the hospital, so it was on the 2nd of February.
No.
So the answer is no. Did you give the baby a name in the meantime?
We were thinking about names, yes.
You were thinking about it. So you had a few in your mind. That isn't important, of course. I was just wondering, at that stage, had you come up with a name yet? Fair enough. So an appointment is made for the 12th then. So you think, great, lovely, we can relax now, forget about that.
Yes.
But then something else happens.
Yes, unfortunately there is a doctor that turned up, and she was extremely pushy and extremely rude. She said in these terms like, I want to come in, I want to see the baby. And I was like, wow, what is this about? Like, honestly, Richie, I didn't feel safe to open a door to a person that is talking like this when I'm having a new baby inside my home.
So you said, of course, at this stage, Yolanda, no need, the baby is absolutely fine. Thank you, everything is okay.
Yep.
Right, but she wouldn't go away.
Exactly.
And came back, if I remember earlier on, I made loads of notes on this, came back with the police.
Yes.
Well, the police turned up on their own.
The police turned up.
Why did the police turn up on their own? Now, I absolutely believe you, because I've heard this story a million times. But explain to people how does that happen? Are they listening in? Or what happens?
So a nice chap turned up on the door, and she said, I want to come in, I want to see the baby. And I did ask him, what's this about? And he said, there is midwives complaining that you're not allowing them to come in. And I was like, yeah, I'm sleep deprived and I'm actually naked. Otherwise, I'll even allow you not to come in. And he said, fine, I do understand that you are without bra and you feel naked. So please show me the baby through the window and I'll be happy with that.
I find that so sinister, that just that bit, show me the baby through the window.
So I did.
Well, you did, because you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, you're stubborn. Obviously, you've got that Latin blood in you, and I understand that. And that's not a criticism, by the way. But fair play to you. You did show the policeman the baby through the window. It sounds mad even saying this, but you did, and he was like, okay.
Yeah, he was happy. He was like, why am I here? What reason? Why am I here? Everything's fine. The baby's fine. Why am I here?
And after we went to the balcony and we spoke with him, we have given our names, and he was happy with that. He clearly said, "I do not know why I'm here. What is this all about? I can tell you that he said, like, there is more important things where I should go to."
Well, as somebody, I mean, we all pay taxes. As somebody who does, I'd like to think there could be something better to occupy a policeman's time than annoying you because you wouldn't let a midwife in.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to move this along now. It's 23 minutes to the top of the hour, because this is where things start to get very, very serious. Because we're coming to the point now where it gets very serious in terms of the state getting involved. So he goes away, the policeman. Presumably the doctor does. What happens then?
So after we are very scared with this is involving police. I'm being treated already like a criminal. I never had the police turning in my house. So then me and Leonardo, we call Leonardo's GP, and we ask for a GP to come to our house and check the baby urgently to make sure that baby is fine and everyone to calm down. So the GP has, we call a GP, but because we didn't have the naming for the baby, they could not set up an appointment for the baby. So has been set up an appointment in name of Leonardo because the baby didn't have a name, so they could not register the appointment. So
but the
GP, they didn't turn up. The GP didn't turn up. And I can tell you after that I have received in the voicemail a phone call from the guys from the neonatal unit in Southampton telling us that you need to be in the hospital by 5 p.m. And Richie, unless I would have an ambulance, I could not manage to be in the hospital by 5 p.m. So we went to Lillian's house because we wanted to arrange a private midwife to see the baby as soon as possible and put everyone at ease, to everyone to be happy, because baby was fine.
And
baby
to leave you alone.
Healthy.
Yeah. So you went to, whose house did you say? Did you say Lillian?
Lillian is our doula. She was the birth part,
Right, of course. You mentioned the doula earlier on, of course. So you went to see her. Let's get a private midwife appointment. So, of course, you're missing this 5 o'clock hospital appointment, right?
Yes.
And this is where it starts to get very serious.
So what happened, Richie, now what they have written on the notes is that we have absconded. Because we left our house, we have absconded.
But that's a criminal term, that. Absconded is something that you say somebody is supposed to turn up to court and they have a criminal charge against them and they don't turn up, they have absconded. That's a very serious word to use about a woman who hasn't turned up to a hospital.
We went to see our friend for support and to get a midwife. We didn't abscond, so that's just them putting words in their papers, We left our house and went to our friends,
We went actually to Lillian's house and she did not come to our house because in our house the phone signal is not very good. And because he wanted to get midwives, so it was better in her house because the signal was much better. So we did arrange for a midwife that actually should be private midwife, and she works in NHS Southampton Hospital as well. And everything was arranged by the point that she denied to come in because it seems the hospital was in red alert and was preventing her to come and see the baby. And after what happened is that social service and the police turned up in Lillian's house, and I knew it. I knew that the things, they would get much, much worse. So they did try to give us a contract to sign it, what they call a contract of expectations. And obviously, you do not want to hear the words contract you are afraid. So we didn't sign anything at all.
Brilliant. You were very brave not to sign that. What was in the contract of expectations, by the way?
I do not know.
You didn't even read it. Fair play to you. Any idea, Leon?
I can't remember now off the top of the head.
It sounds to me, I mean, look, I probably haven't got a clue, but it sounds like it would stipulate clauses where, you know, you have to name the baby, you have to sign this, you have to agree to show up here at a certain time, you have to allow the care workers to come in and check on the baby, all that sort of stuff. That's what I'm guessing it would have said anyway, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
what happened, Richie, is that they turned up to us and said, you know what, we're taking the baby with us to the hospital right now. So you are coming with us or without us. So now decide. Obviously, Richie, we went with baby. This is the 5th of February, already 6th of February, Saturday early morning, 2 a.m. And we need to go and rush to the hospital. So the baby has been admitted in the hospital and they put him through phototherapy. Why? Saying that the baby has jaundice and is a very severe jaundice and needs treatment urgently. We saw that the baby had jaundice. This was on Thursday.
Did he look like he had jaundice?
On the 4th of February, yes.
Yeah, on the day he had jaundice. We took a note of it, put it in our diary, and I went onto an NHS website to look at jaundice. And it said on this NHS website, 3 or 4 days after birth, babies often get jaundice. But it's something, you know, you just keep a watch of it. So we took a note of it, but it does pass. You know, this is just normal for babies.
Very regular, yeah.
So we took that as, okay, that's fine. We just keep watch of it.
And obviously, if the yellow of the baby would not go away, obviously, I would have been to the doctors.
That's right. And it was only a couple of days anyway. And it's a very normal condition for a baby, yeah.
But been busy on Friday receiving doctors and police and going to Lillian's house, I didn't have no time even to go to a GP, you know.
So here we are now at 16 and a half minutes to the top of the hour. We've got about 12 more minutes left tonight on this. Now we're at the point where presumably they're making a decision which on the face of it, based on the evidence that you've given me, is a disgraceful and an absolutely unimaginable decision. They're deciding that, well, you're not fit to look after the baby. That's what they're saying. And at what point do they inform you that that as far as they're concerned, they had better hold on to the baby and, you know, suspend... I don't even want to use those words, but to prevent you from taking the child home. When did that happen? What did they say?
So we are in a hospital. There is the police in there. They said that the baby is going to stay now in the cot for 72 hours. If you try to take the baby away from here, you or your partner, they are going to be jailed. And when we ask for, during these 72 hours, so during the weekend in February, all the time that me, my partner, or Lillian would ask for any paperwork, they would just say that you are aggressive, and they have thrown out Lillian of the hospital and Leonardo of the hospital as well. So many times I stayed alone in the hospital and not even to have a friend or to have the partner with me. So no papers whatsoever until the time that there is a person from the hospital, Sandy Denton. She turned up at us smiling, and we think that we're going to get good news. But unfortunately, smiling at us, she said, in 10 minutes, you're going to be in court.
So I'll take this. This lady came to us smiling and sarcastic, saying to us, you're going to be in court in 10 minutes. So the both of us are like, oh my God, what's happening? Wow, what's going on? Conveniently, a few minutes later, Richie, a solicitor or barrister phones us and just happens to be in the court that supposedly there's a court case occurring at that point in time, 10 minutes later, a few minutes later.
No papers served, no correspondence, nothing official.
No papers served.
You're in court in 10 minutes, mate, like it or lump it.
10 minutes later, conveniently, this solicitor calls us, and in our state of a frightened state, we may have instructed these people to take on the case.
What else would you do?
under duress. We did.
Yeah, what else would you do? Yeah.
Yes.
And so then they have been in court at 11:45 on 8th of February, deciding what we do not know. And on the day after, in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, when I was going to breastfeed my baby, I have been surprised by 2 policemen again, saying, if you want to try to take your baby away from here, you're going to prison, and you're going to be in court again today at 2 p.m. I do not know where. I have not been told if it was Southampton, if it was Portsmouth. I didn't have no papers to go and help to decide for my baby's future. So on the 9th of February, 8 p.m., Stephanie Simpson from Social Service arrives with the police and says to me that we are taking your baby away because the hospital is not the best environment for your baby.
A decision was made in court that day that without you having any input into it, without having any time to prepare for it, with no opportunity to defend yourself, not even knowing what the charges are against you, they come back to you and say, it's all been decided, we're taking the child now.
Yes.
Yep. And Richie,
Jesus Christ.
During the time that we are in the hospital, I have been breastfeeding very well. And the doctor, Sarah Davison, that she said that my partner was aggressive. This woman, she says to me, Yolanda, you have 3 choices here. You have 3 formulas that you have to choose because your milk is not enough. And I say to her, how come my milk is not enough suddenly? And she says, no, your milk is not enough. And then in the argument, I say to her, you know what? That's an assault if you want to give formula. And then she says, okay, so try to pump 30 mils and then your milk might be enough. I did pump 30 mils. After she said, okay, you have to pump now 30 mils every hour. And I did now 50 mils. She said, okay, I had enough of this. And after, when her shift finished, the doctor after said, you know, Yolanda, you don't need to give any formula because your milk is enough. So in a question of minutes, my milk that was not enough turned up to be good enough. And after that, the baby has been taken away, has been taken to foster care. We only have been seeing the baby for 1 hour and 30 minutes, not being allowed to change his nappy because we are dangerous.
How often do you get to see him now?
So we were seeing him 1 in 30 minutes, weekdays. Now since Friday, we have not seen the baby. We're not allowed to see the baby.
Why have they said that all of a sudden? Since I mean, let's be honest about it now. It's absolutely heinous and outrageous that they have possession of your baby. Let's not even. I mean, that's a given. We take that for granted. But why all of a sudden have they suspended the 90-minute visitation weekday visits?
Yeah, so now we're not allowed to see the baby because when they didn't allow us to change nappies. So they have told us that if the baby is breastfeeding for 90 minutes, it's very probable that the baby needs to change the nappy. And we told them, okay, but you can change the nappy after our contact in a way that doesn't take, more minutes from our contact. We only have 90 minutes. So can you change the nappy afterwards? Which ones they said, no, we need to change the nappy for your baby whilst you are in the contact. So because of this, because we didn't allow them to change the nappy or check the nappy on last Friday, they have taken the baby from us. So we're not allowed to see him all week.
We've had lots of tweets on this, and our listeners might be annoyed at me, but I think they'll understand that I haven't been stopping the story to read the tweets. For people who want to see what's being said, go to Twitter, put Richie Allen Show, all one word, into the search Twitter bar, press enter, and you'll see what people have been saying. It's causing horror amongst our listeners, absolutely horrible. Dion is listening to this programme in Denmark. She's a former police officer and says the pen is mightier than the sword. The NHS, the social services could have written anything and presented it to the court. You had no chance. And I suppose, Leon, you're a bloke and I'm a bloke and we feel guilty and we think, what could we have done? I've heard 100 of these stories in the last 12 months, mate. You had no chance, Leon. You had no chance because they don't let you know about the court cases. They don't want you to be there. They give evidence to the judge that you don't get to see and have a look at, and they can say anything in those papers. And that is what's happened to you now. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes left on this. I'm not going to let this drop because there is a lawyer, a former federal judge based in the United States who's doing working on this on your behalf, and I want to get him on this programme in the future. You are a cardiophysiologist, Yolanda. Yes. You're an articulate, very, very, very intelligent woman. I'm not patronising you. You obviously are. Leon, you're a solvent man. You got your business. You're smart. You're articulate. You are what people would describe years ago, kind of in a cliched way, as upwardly mobile people, good people. You have a baby and this happens to you. I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. What are you going to do? What are you planning on doing about this? Go ahead.
We have, with the counsel of the federal judge David Wynne Miller, we have created, and our friend Mark Kishon Christopher in London, we have created some documents and served them on the solicitors, the judges, asking them for their oath of office in the correct sentence structure, passe, syntax, grammar. We've sacked our solicitors and barristers because we found out that they are working together. The two barristers, my barrister is working for the same company as the city council stole our babies company. So that's conflict of interest. So we've sacked them and we've served documents on the judges who is involved. So we are just, we're at this point in time where we served them on 20 people. And we are now getting it out there to the media with you guys and other people to get our story out there, because this is criminal kidnap and child trafficking happening in the UK. Our child is not registered with the state, and they are not allowed to do this. Their own laws, codes, and regulations do not allow them to do this. This is kidnap and child trafficking.
Yolanda, have you spoken to the Portuguese embassy here?
Yes, they do know, and what they have told me is that they can't do much because the things they are in court. So I need to get a solicitor, a lawyer, and they will have to do the things. But actually, I did find out in court, my solicitor did not even turn up, and he didn't even tell me. Sorry, he didn't even tell me that was not turning up. So I was surprised only by a barrister that I have never seen her before. And unfortunately, Richie, while we were in court, she keeps saying to me that I do not believe that the judge is going to give your baby now. I do not believe this and that. So in a few seconds, she decides everything that what she wants and goes against what I want. So she has not been against the care order.
Yeah.
And even she tries me to consent in court that I believe and that I agree that my partner was a risk for my baby.
By the way, I must say this, Yolanda. Some of our listeners will be emailing me tonight to ask me, did I endeavour to get the other side of this? Now, today, for the first time in my professional career, I did not endeavour to get the other side of this. And that is because when the last 10 guests came on this programme to talk about the similar stories or talking about what happened to them, like Yolanda, when I went to various social services departments around the country to ask for the other side of it, I was told effectively that they couldn't say this or they couldn't say that, and it was all sub judice say. They don't use that word so much anymore. So there's no point in me going for the other side of it because they ain't going to give it. It's as simple as that.
They work on unaccountability, Richie. No one signs anything. No one puts their name to it or anything. Any document is photocopies, not signed. This is unaccountability, and this is...
The judge didn't sign anything. We don't have nothing signed. Nothing.
Can you both do me a favour? We're right up on time. I want to follow this case every step of the way with you, Yolanda, and you, Leon. I really do. I didn't want to make you emotional, Yolanda. I didn't want to be asking you about family and support. I can't imagine what any woman must feel like going through this. Are you guys looking after one another? Are you taking care of one another?
You know, Richie, I only can tell you that I did wake up many times during the night asking, where is my baby? Where is my baby? And I have a cot right next to me in here, and this is my worst nightmare, and many times I cannot even believe what I'm going through, only because I didn't open a door, a bloody door.
Listen, take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in touch.
Thank you for
Thank
letting
you
us
very
on the
much.
show. Thank you, Richie, getting that story out.
Bye for now. That was Leon and Yolanda. I'm just about out of time, so I'm going to end the programme. I will follow that up, of course, with them, and we'll pursue it with them every step of the way, and they will be able to come back on in the future, and hopefully on other programmes as well, to tell this story, because they are amongst thousands of people who are going through this in 2016 in Britain. I'm out of here. Bye for now.